After making this movie, maybe not so much, just from sheer exhaustion. The X-Men, of all the titles, all the books I could have written for, was really the grail. There are definitely things that I would love to do, and Brian Hitch and I always go, and I'm like, that's great. What can we do that hasn't been done? Let's not do Spider-Man. Although I am going to do a Spider-Man reboot movie every year. It would be Justin Bieber and Elle Fanning. I think it's going to be really, really bad.
Hi, Josh. I'm a big fan of that beautiful braid. And
beautiful and very beautiful brain.
I was wondering whether you wrote Buffy with like a big end in mind, sort of the end of her life, or you just worked on a season basis as you sort of told the story of her life.
Well, every season was designed for us to be canceled. Oddly enough, something I didn't prepare for was Firefly. Weird. But, you know, it is an uncertain life, and so every season we wanted to go out with just enough so that we could say, if we never come back, we have a sense of closure. That's why we never did cliffhangers, because we were never sure. In fact, the first time I did a cliffhanger was season 4 of Angel, and I was like, oh, no, I'm sorry, it was season 3 was the first time, and then I came back and was like, oh, the first episode is so much easier to write now. And our first episodes were almost always our weakest, because, you know, we sort of closed everything out. So it didn't have to be big, like the last episode of season 4, The Dream was really just a coda, not a giant climax, but it always had to be enough.
What did you see in Lila and Wes that made you realize how amazing and perfect they were for each other? And do you ever intend for them to fall in love, or do you think it just kind of happened?
I heard everything in that question except the people's names.
Lila and Wes.
Oh, Lila and Wes. Well, let's see. They hate each other. They agree on nothing. They're diametrically opposed, and they're both super sexy. I don't know what made me think we should get them together. They had quite the chemistry. You know, when you get people who can't stand each other in bed together, fun ensues.
Now that you own the rights for the Angel now, with the Angel and Dave comic, will we see characters like Illyria or Connor show up?
Yes. All of the Buffy and Angelverse characters are under one roof now. You know, and I do want to thank the guys at IDW for shepherding Angel for so long and doing a wonderful job with it. But at the end of the day, it makes life easier and better to have them all in each other's world. And the best part will be taking people from Angel's world and putting them in Buffy's in a way that we never have before, and vice versa. The books will start out separately. They do all sort of, the go is the end of season 8, Buffy, but we're going to keep them in their own worlds a little bit, just so the books can establish their own identities, and it doesn't just become this giant, you have to buy everything crossover fest, which I feel is unfair. But then, very soon after that, we're going to get really silly. And, you know, if I had the time, there would be about 5 other people who'd have their own books, standalone books. But as it is, we're going to be trying to work on some mini-series in one shot and making sure that everybody gets in everybody else's soup, because there's so many great dynamics there. And I just need more Illyria.
Hi, John. I really enjoyed Frey popping up in season 8. Was it difficult to bring the two worlds together?
That was actually some of the easiest and most fun stuff that I got to do. Those two worlds, being so separate but so connected, made writing that just pretty much pure joy. And having Carl back to do it, because it was Frey, was really lovely. Obviously there's some reconciling issues. Basically all of the Buffy comic has been, affected by Frey, which I wrote thinking, there's no way this will ever affect Buffy. 200 years in the future, so I'm totally safe. But now that I've resolved the fact that, yes, they are connected universes, bringing them together was, just a delight. Mostly because I got to have Frey say, "Summer, you drive like this van." Sorry?
Hi. In the Buffy and Angel universe. I was wondering if there were any characters who you either regret killing off or introducing.
Yes, I regret introducing Tara. No. I don't have a lot of regret. The fact of the matter is, we all know that sometimes I have killed beloved characters because I believe that is something that people in those kinds of stories need to go through. And we all know that there are some characters that I introduced that did not stick to the wall quite as successfully as others. But I don't live with a lot of regret. Every character that we had, we got to milk for some really interesting stories. And if people didn't like them, we either found a way to make them like them or played that up as part of their persona. We got to ride the surf of people's, fans' involvement. And I really I'm not big with regret. It's not on my schedule.
Hi, I was just wondering if we're going to see a more consistent, themes of Spike in season 9, and if we find out where he got his bug shift.
Yes, eventually we will discover where he got his insect original. And he's going to be, a real factor in Buffy's life. You got to put those two in a row, and it's just too much fun. I can't say which room. But
Scott, big fan. I really love the Firefly verse, and I was wondering if, just with the Shepherd's Tale and Blown Out, are we going to have any more backgrounds from any other characters like Mal or
I want to. I don't have anything on the drawing board right now because of busyness and craziness and laziness and busyness. But yeah, we'd like to do some more backstory stuff, and I think at this point, we have license at some point as well to move forward these characters too. It would be interesting to know what happens next. Do you watch Clone Wars?
I know you're a big X-Men fan, and that Kitty Pryde was kind of an inspiration. Yeah, I'm a rock.
Yes, I was going to say. Are you about to slam her? Because
no, and that Kitty Pryde was an inspiration for Buffy, and I wanted to know if you consciously drew from Rogue when you developed Echo and all that.
They're connected. There was not. Echo was an attempt at something very different. Somebody with, no support system or identity of any kind. And that really didn't come from the same place as Kitty and Buffy, except in the sense that I always write about helplessness and the gaining of strength and the building of identity. Echo was a more pure version of that. Buffy reflected Kitty in the way that they were both young and suddenly burdened with responsibility, but they both had the context of their lives. The whole point about Echo was that she had that taken away from her. I don't actually know a lot of people like that. It was more of a stretch. It was almost kind of my robot fiction. I like her outfit too.
So throughout Angel, there's references to the powers that be, and it doesn't happen in Buffy. And I was wondering if that was an idea that you didn't have when you were first writing Buffy?
You know, everybody had some kind of, controlling force out there that was supposed to be benign, but didn't quite seem to get it done. On Angel, we defined them differently. But, Buffy, there was always not just the Watchers Council, but the first, people who had made the first Slayers, and there was always some new weird council of old men or women or beings or clouds or something that was out there that you would basically need as something to invoke or something to move the story along or something to rail against for not making things better. Something that would seem to be in opposition to the very dark forces that were, obviously personified in Wolf and Heart, but at the end of the day, really proved more than the evil ever did, that everything is shades of gray, and that no matter who's out there, we do have to do this ourselves.
Would you ever bring Buffy to Broadway?
That could work.
You mean like take her to a show? I would. I can't say that I will, or that by the time I try to, anyone will want me to, but yeah, I think she belongs there. In the theater opposite where Dr. Horrible is.
You're a master of breaking our hearts by killing all fan favorites, Tara, Anya, Giles. But on a scale of 1 to 10 for Buffy Season 9, how badly are you planning on smashing our hearts in the ground?
Ow.
Look, you all know I want you to suffer. It's like a drug. Season 9 is not designed around tragedy, but then life seldom is. It happens. Do I plan to do something awful and break your hearts? I'm not going to tell you. But Season 9 has some very edgy stuff in it, some very new stuff in it, but it is not built around darkness per se, except in the fact that, Buffy is always trying to find out who she is, which can be complicated and sometimes dangerous and sticky and weird. But whether or not I'm going to do something appalling in Season 9, I will not reveal, because that would take out the fun of your suffering. I wasn't